What's up guys, this is my PS5 Digital Edition, and you know what? I kind of regret buying it. Let's find out why. What's up everyone, my name is Valentine and welcome to this channel. On this channel we speak about gaming and tech. If you're new to this channel, then welcome. Please consider subscribing down below. It helps out a ton and it'll be great to see how quickly we can work together to grow this channel to 1,000 subscribers. If you've been here before, then welcome back. So as the title and the intro say, I regret buying my PS5 Digital. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the PS5 ecosystem as a whole. I genuinely love the PS5 and I'm so excited not only by the games that have been released, but also what games will come out in the future. I think the system has so much potential and we've just scratched the surface of what the system can offer. To put it simply, I wish I went for the disc edition of the PS5. And I want to take this video to speak to you guys about some of the pitfalls that I found in the PS5 Digital and to make sure that you guys make the right decision if you're thinking about buying the PS5. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So in my opinion, one of the main reasons that people go for the PS5 Digital over the disc edition is the price. Let's be honest, it's nearly £90 cheaper and you don't lose any of the performance like you do on the digital edition on the Xbox side of things. The performance on the PS5 Digital and the disc edition are exactly the same. With the PS5 Digital having no disc drive, it obviously means that the only way of getting games to the actual device is by downloading them from the PlayStation Network to the hard drive directly. But this is kind of where it gets really interesting. Because we just said one of the main reasons you would go for the PS5 Digital is price. Well, what if I told you by going for the PS5 Digital, you will actually end up paying more than if you went for the PS5 Disc Edition? Let me show you how that works. Let's have a look at some examples. So personally, one of my favourite releases so far on the PS5 has been Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. It's a phenomenal game, and if you go on the PlayStation Network just now, on the PlayStation Store, it's still up at the £69 recommended retail price. However, if we go on the good old trusty Amazon, we can see that the game is already being sold at a discount. We can see that the title has already been discounted down to £55. So that's £14 cheaper than getting it on the PlayStation Store. Let's take another PS5 exclusive. Returnal, for example. So we go on the PlayStation Store, and same as Ratchet & Clank, it's up at £69. Back to Amazon for the disc edition, and how much is it? And it's £58 on Amazon. So £11 of a difference from the PlayStation Store to a physical disc copy. And this isn't limited to PlayStation exclusives. So let's take a look at a cross-platform game like Avengers, for example. It's obviously out on the PS5, the PS4, the Xbox, PC, so wide variety of sort of market. Yet on the PlayStation Store, it's still £40. And then taking a look at Amazon, shock horror, it's only £19, so more than half the price you'll be saving if you had the disc edition. So with just those 3 games alone, if you had the PS5 disc edition, you would have saved north of £40. Now that's nearly just under half the price of the price difference between the PS5 Digital and the PS5 disc edition. So you can see over the course of a year or two, if you're buying these exclusive games, if you're buying them on the PlayStation Store online and not taking advantage of the discounts that you get with the disc, it will add up. And after 6 or 7 games, it will cost you exactly the same for that £90 price saving that you got on the PS5 Digital. So over the course of the lifetime of a console, the PS5 Digital will actually cost you more than the more expensive disc edition. Now, one little side note I want to note is that I bought the PS5 for the PS5 exclusive, some fantastic franchises. But with the PS5, unlike the Xbox Series X, the exclusives are priced at $69 or £69, unlike the £59 you do get on the Microsoft side of things. So it's actually slightly a bit more painful when you start to add up those differences for those PS5 exclusives. And this is one of the main reasons why I do regret going for the PS5 Digital Edition. Now moving on to my next point, and let's be honest, this current new generation of consoles and games, it still hasn't gotten off to that big start. There's so many factors right now in the world that's totally understandable. But what it means is that there's this massive back catalogue of PS4 games, some of which are amazing games, such as God of War, Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, brilliant games that if you want to take advantage of them on the PS5 Digital, even if you're like myself and you have disc copies of those games for the PS4, tough luck. You need to buy them again on the PlayStation Store. Let's be honest, there are literally hundreds of older gen games that can still provide some fantastic gameplay and replay value. But if you want to play them, you need to buy them again. Whereas if you had a disc edition, pop it into the PS5, and most of the PS4 games are backwards compatible on the PS5 disc edition. And that backwards compatibility with all my PS4 games is again one of the big reasons why I wish that I went for the disc edition over my digital PS5. Now, a little side note that I want to mention as well is that recently Sony were in a bit of bother, them sort of trying to close down the PlayStation stores for the Vita and the PS3. Obviously, it'll still be years and years before it is an issue for PS4 games. Nevertheless, it still did highlight the fact that having a physical disc game in front of you is much better than sort of relying on digital products like through the PlayStation Store, for example. Now, my final point for this video is that with the distinct lack of disk drive, it also means there's a distinct lack of used games. I mentioned it in some of my previous videos, but I absolutely love going into used game shops, especially a couple of years into the console cycle, and just seeing all the different games that you can pick up for next to nothing, and just seeing games that you've totally forgotten about, or you maybe didn't have the time to play at release, and picking them up and having a great time. Now, whilst it may not seem like a big issue at the start of the console generation, but as we get into the generation over a couple of years, there will be a massive library of games that you would want to play. When you couple that with the fact that with the games that you do actually own on the PS5 Digital, they're just there. Like, you can't trade them in, you can't sell them on or pass them on to a friend or anything like that. So when you take this point and couple it with the first point we spoke about earlier on in the video about the game prices actually being more expensive, having no option to trade it in just makes the overall sort of ownership price point even more expensive, which again just compounds the point that going for the disc edition will work out cheaper over the course of the generation. Now, don't get me wrong, the PlayStation Store, it does have sales, they are quite frequent, but it just doesn't compare to the actual real thing of walking into a store, browsing the different games and just picking out titles that you may have never thought of actually playing. So there you go, guys. Those are my three main reasons why I regret getting the PS5 Digital over the disc edition. Now, please leave a comment down below which edition you think is the best value for money, and if you have a PS5, which one you actually went for. Now, as I said at the start of the video, I love the PS5, so please don't take this video as me hating on the console. As a gaming system, I think it's phenomenal. The DualSense controller is brilliant. I think the design is better than the Series X. It's just, I think the digital edition just has those pitfalls, as I covered off, that I think everyone has to take into account. Now, for some people, the digital edition will be the right way of buying the PS5. If you already go for digital games and you don't like having the physical product, it makes sense to go for the more cheaper device. And in actual fact, I think the digital edition does actually look slightly better than the disc edition with its more sort of slimmer look. It almost feels like the digital edition was actually designed first and then they added on the disc drive later on in the design process. And another point to think about with digital games, it is a lot easier to get them because you don't need to worry about physically going and getting the disc or waiting for it to arrive on release day. With a digital game, you get it there and then once it's downloaded. Anyway, guys, those are my own personal thoughts. If you agree with them, disagree with them, it doesn't matter. As I said, the PS5 is still a brilliant console. But thanks very much for watching. Please leave a comment down below if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.